Welcome back to our podcast, guys. This is going to be our second episode, and we're excited to do more episodes here for you guys. We actually have not posted our first one, but we are recording some of these before. That way, we can have some time to edit and all that. But today's episode is going to be led by my best friend, Joshua Wolfe, which he will lead us with some articles. So I'm excited for that. Just disclaimer before we start, this is unfiltered faith, which means we are not filtered by any denomination, any church, or anything like that. We're not associating ourselves to anything right now because we really just want to give our pure opinions on articles, on posts, on really anything. So I hope you guys enjoy the fact that we're doing that. But Wolf, take it away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're not filtering anything. These are just our straight thoughts, raw, right from our brain, just taken right from our brain and given to you guys. Yeah, no scripts or anything for us. And yeah, I
That might
put
be a good
together a
thing
few,
or a bad thing.
huh?
That might be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you look at it. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, so we have a couple of articles I found online that I thought would be pretty interesting to discuss, and they're kind of bring up interesting topics. One of the first articles that I brought up is, it's kind of a fun topic, and it's one where I was like, didn't expect to see that online, and you really, you can find anything online, but I just, this kind of just was like a real shock to me. But in a weird way, a very bizarre way, which you're about to see why. Well, there's this article that I found. It was a Swedish minister's phobia of bananas. Now, Sweden's gender equality minister, Paulina Brandberg, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right, has
Wait,
an
so
extreme.
it's a girl.
Yes, yes. It's a
Okay. Okay.
apparently, has an extreme fear to bananas, and she's often as described as banana phobia. She had leaked emails that revealed her staff requested all premises she visited to be free of bananas, citing her strong allergy to the fruit. This includes correspondence with the Norwegian Judicial Agency asking for strict compliance to her fear of bananas, which can trigger strong symptoms like anxiety and nausea, is what it says. In 2020, she reportedly posted on social media about having the world's weirdest phobia. She later deleted that post. So this condition has caused a lot of debate and public curiosity, which I can imagine. So I mean, in today's world, you really, this is a strange phobia, but in today's world, you run across, these types of things. You see people who eat drywall, you see people marrying their cars. Now you have people who are, afraid of bananas, and I don't know how to make sense of it. But, it got me thinking, and I was thinking, what are my irrational fears? Because I do have them. I don't haven't shared all of them with you guys, not even you guys, but I do have some irrational fears. So I kind of wanted to talk, and I'll let you guys go first.
I'm glad you said that because I was just imagining like she can't even look at pictures of bananas. Like she can't even have like toy bananas around her or like little plushies or anything.
Yeah, I think it
I
goes
can't
it
I
goes
imagine.
to
think,
that extent. Like she can't be around even fake bananas. Now, I
yeah,
think her fear is not too irrational. I want to be at least on the other side of the coin, just because it can cause her issues because she is allergic
yeah,
to it.
exact, exactly. I'm not sure if this is it seems like it's a phobia, and obviously the mental can become physical, and I obviously definitely want to have empathy for her in the situation. I don't know all the details about it. It's to us, it seems irrational, but I don't know
Yeah,
all the details. So yeah, there is a certain level of I'm not just saying it's just, doesn't make any sense because I don't know all
yeah,
the details. I've
yeah,
just, seen the initial article and I'm like, okay, a fear of bananas. But based on what I've read in the article, it seems that it's like even the sight of a bananas, it has nothing to do with being exposed to them like directly, or even fake bananas can cause this sort of reaction, it seems.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well,
But
I guess I'll start and say that um fears that and I've had different fears growing up, obviously. Um, I remember when I was younger, and I think this probably is a shared fear from a lot of kids, but um, I was probably still 8 or 9, and I couldn't shower by myself. And I was afraid of corners, if that's kind of if it's irrational, I guess. I felt like every time I would turn around and wash my face, there was something in the corner behind me, standing and looking at me. So yeah, I remember I went through very traumatic events that my parents and my siblings they really wanted me to learn how to shower myself, so they tried to help me in different ways. Um, that was one, but I guess the my biggest fear right now is heights, and it gets to a
What?
point where I'm walking in the mall and we're in the second floor. I can't be close to the rail, and I can't have whoever's walking with me close to the rail. I purposely will start walking towards the stores and pretending to even look at the stores just so that people will move away from the rail and come closer to where it's more safe. So that's, I think, my most irrational fear right now.
Rational or irrational?
Irrational, sorry.
I was gonna say, since you mentioned the whole showering thing, like I think that's where Angelina gets it from. Angelina is like scared of taking a shower because she's afraid
What?
that like a spider is gonna pop out at her.
First of all, explain who Angelina is.
Okay, Angelina's our daughter.
It's also those movies and shows where people walk into the bathroom while they're in the shower. It always seems to attack them when they're in the shower. I don't know if that's where it's.
It's a very vulnerable place, all right?
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just run out.
Yeah. You can't if you're gonna get killed.
I think
So we haven't shared the story yet, but I'm sure we will. Our house burned down, and I was in the shower when the house started burning down. I stopped
You put on your clothes.
at least because I think it was
Run
running.
outside.
yeah.
I mean,
But-
yeah, I don't know. I mean, they would have understood, but it would have been kind of awkward. I mean,
See, I would have just I think I just would have ran out of in a towel because I
Just
would
gotta
like,
grab the towel.
Yeah. But he took the time to put pants on.
Yeah, I don't like. I would have at least grabbed the towel. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about more than that. If I'm afraid I'm gonna burn to death, I
Yeah.
can't promise
no, I was
anything
gonna
else.
say that's definitely it's not a fear, but that connects to other insecurities that you have. Like the fact that you're like you feel vulnerable just because you're naked. Because me, I'm like, well, I mean, if there's something really was in there, like I don't have the best body, but I'd still run out of there. Like, you know?
Yeah, no,
You're like,
that demon is gonna get me before I put my pants
no,
on because
no, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not gonna run out.
if it's between running outside naked and burning to death, I'd rather run outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't shared
You
the
know, I
story yet, but in my mind, it wasn't like the house is gonna burn down. To me, it was like we need to call, someone to come help, and it's just one area of the room that burned, but it obviously went and became a bigger thing than we expected. But I think that is maybe not irrational, but she does have a fear of anything. Like we go to birthday parties, and Amadis cannot be close to the candles. She doesn't like me going into stores and smelling candles anymore because she thinks that I'm going to buy a candle.
Candle.
And I'm gonna buy a candle. But she does have an irrational, well, not irrational. Again, there is there is
I
a
want to be
history.
careful. Yeah, with me saying irrational doesn't mean we don't have sympathy or understanding for people. Like even the Swedish minister's phobia of banana. Like if when I meant irrational, I was meaning like I don't quite understand it fully.
Yeah,
That's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm
yeah.
coming from, you
Well,
know.
and
Well,
I've
and it's
also never met anybody else I've never met that same minister, but I've never met anyone that's afraid of bananas. So that's kind of what makes it irrational.
I've never met anyone who's allergic to bananas.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was an
me neither.
allergy. I guess maybe she's allergic to berry
Um,
because a banana is a berry.
it
Maybe
is
she's allergic to
actually,
strawberries,
Maybe
as far as I'm
a
aware.
lot of fruits.
but they're not. Why not be afraid of strawberries? Right?
Hmm.
Those are more scary than bananas, I would say.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, let's jump to so that's your like strange phobia. We'll call it strange phobia.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange phobia. Now,
Because
did you tell us your strange phobia? Would you say is the candles,
oh
fire, or do you
no,
have something else?
I think and maybe it's not strange, but a lot of people I guess don't understand it, especially at my age. So I'm 31 now. Oh my gosh, I'm 31 now.
I know. Happy
On
belated
Monday.
birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday! Related.
I still don't drive. And yeah. And
This
it's
isn't a. I'm like, this is real, everyone. She still
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
drive.
it's 100% real. I mean, I know how, and I just don't because it scares me. A few years ago, I want to say it was 2 years ago, Urban was like, "Why don't you?" Because I used to have a small shop, and I would take orders and then I would have to drop them off at the post office. And Urban was like, "Why don't you take your package to the post office today?" And I mean, even him just saying that, like that, it freaked me out. But I was like, you know what? Okay, I have to do this, so I'm gonna do it. So I got in the car. I was like, I don't even know my way around here, so I put my GPS on, and then I drove there. And somehow, I guess my phone died or something. I got kind of lost because I didn't know where I was, but I made my way back. But when I came back, my entire the from the top of my shoulders down to my waist, it hurt so bad. Like I guess I was so tensed up while I was driving
Oh,
that
Yeah.
I physically felt horrible.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And it
I
was like,
understand
I think
that.
it was at most she drove maybe 3 miles round trip
Yeah.
because like the post office is not, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
a bit more, but it's not that far away from our house. And
Yeah.
it's really a straight road once you get out of the neighborhood. You know, there's some turns. And I say that because again, I drive all the time, but pretty much to me it's like 90% of it is a straight road. Um, but yeah, and I want to make it clear because I feel like people have made comments to us that I guess kind of hint to the side of, am I withholding her?
Like
No,
you don't allow her to drive because you don't want her to have freedom.
no. If it was for me, I would stay home, go grocery shop, go take the girls to dance class, and I'll just stay home and do my own thing. But I drive everyone everywhere, and some days I hate it, but I'm still gonna do it. But yeah, no. Because and I think it comes from culture as well. There is a lot of Hispanic men who, at least years ago, they wouldn't allow their women to learn how to drive or whatever,
Mm.
just to kind of have control of them,
yeah,
or
to
where.
make sure that they weren't cheating, I guess.
Yeah.
In somebody's house.
I
Yeah,
guess
or
that's
like
one of the
they
main.
were going to spend the money, or I don't know, whatever
Or
they
go out and spend the
were
money. They're
insecure
like,
about.
most of them like, I'd rather you cheat than spend my money. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, no. Yes.
That's hard to imagine. That's honestly hard to imagine. Like, I don't want you to learn how to drive.
Yeah, so and I hope no one, I mean, if you are thinking of it, I hope you're listening to this podcast. By no means am I holding Amaris hostage. She can leave. She can pay an Uber if she wanted to and
I
leave.
know today's world with Uber, she can still
Yeah.
go where she can still go spend your money
She wants to
if
go
she need.
cheat, she can still buy an Uber.
I'm not going to do that. No. Well, I think that's my irrational fear. Because I don't have any explanation for why it freaks me out so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And there's been like small accidents she's been in while she was driving when she was learning. I think that can be attributed to it, but
I don't know.
she used to drive all the time in Dallas. That's
That's
the
another weird
What?
thing is that I was a
Hmm.
lot more comfortable driving in Dallas than I was in Oklahoma, than I was here, than I was in East
That's
Pass. It's just weird.
That's before I drove, I used to have, I don't know about a fear of driving, but I have these crazy dreams of me crashing all the time. Like a
yeah.
car losing control and me crashing
Yeah.
and then eventually I just started driving, you know. I went to driving school. My parents made me go to driving school and then they didn't quite make me. I wanted to learn how to drive, but yeah, I went to driving school and I remember my first time on the highway, I freaked out the driving instructor. Like she was like, slow down. Like I don't know why. Like I was like a little nervous and scared, and then I just went like super fast on the
Yeah.
highway. I was like
My
going.
first time in the highway, and I guess now that we're married and have kids and that, and doesn't matter now. My first time in the highway was actually the very first time I drove back to Dallas. Um, my parents had bought me a car my senior year, and they're like, "Are you sure you can drive?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can drive." Blah blah. And I had driven your car for a while, but each time that I would drive your car, it
Moving around the
was
city.
to McDonald's, to the store, it wasn't on the highway. So I remember getting there, my parents got me a car, here it is. Well, how do you get to Dallas? Well, I have to drive it. So I drove, what is it, a 10-hour, 11-hour drive from Mission all the way to Dallas. And that was my very first time driving in the highway, was a road trip.
Yeah, that's a lot
I
for a
don't
first
think
time on the
I've
highway.
never driven on the highway.
Yeah, I mean,
Never?
you're doing on the highways of Dallas.
You never drove on the highway?
That's considered a highway?
Yeah, they're considered highways.
Like
Oh,
35 in
Yeah,
Dallas?
yeah, like I used to drive from Irving all the way to Farmers Branch.
yeah, you're on the highways
Yeah.
for a bit of it. Yeah.
Oh,
What's your
okay.
fear, Wolf?
I don't have any fears actually. I'm not scared of anything. I have no irrational
Wow.
phobias. Um,
Aren't you
Let me
I'm
see
just
how much
kidding. I'm
muscle flat
kidding.
you.
I'm kidding. I'm scared of
you
it.
are because just based on like the way you talk, aren't you like afraid of dying alone or like being alone?
Wow.
Oh God.
Wow.
Okay.
She's putting me on the spot. Wow. That's a great one. No, sometimes I thought I might die alone, but I'm not really afraid of it per se. Sometimes I'm
Okay.
like I'm
I
thinking
know
like to
that
get in deeper. This
could,
is not a phobia, but this is just more like things that I would, can struggle with, imagining and catastrophizing in my head of like, oh, that
yeah.
might be a scary outcome. I think I would be more scared of being in confinement, like prison,
Yeah.
or being tortured. Those things sound scarier to me than dying alone. Um,
Those are not
but
phobias. Those are
um,
they're everyone. I don't think anyone would say, you know what? Yeah, torture me today.
yeah, but I mean, it's just like where you have
Okay.
excruciating pain that doesn't end,
Yeah,
excruciating pain that never ends. That sounds like, yeah, that sounds horrible.
yeah.
So
Um,
basically you're afraid of going to hell.
um, Not hell on earth in a sense. Not,
Hell on earth.
not, I'm not,
Hell.
I'm not, not, the life after death.
Like
I'm talking about like torturing on earth. Yeah. So.
okay.
Um, but I don't know, like sometimes, it's kind of changed throughout the years what I've been afraid of, probably. I had times where I was like afraid of darkness as a kid. I remember going downstairs in the dark to like get water at night.
Yeah. And we're
And then I
back.
like run up the stairs really quick before anything can get me. That used to be me as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta go really quick because whatever's in the dark, like it's gonna get me if I don't
I'm
move.
gonna get you.
So I'll be like walking around, just making sure it's all clear. And then I like go and get my water or
Yeah.
sometimes a snack. I would sometimes raid the pantry late at night. Yep, that's my confession on this podcast. I ate the Pop-Tarts. I ate, the candy bars. That was me sneaking into the pantry. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, I would do that and then like run back up the stairs to my room as fast as I could because I did have like a little bit of a fear of the dark. Um, and then for some reason I didn't like moths always. I have a weird phobia of moths. Like even to this day I don't know, they're so creepy. They're just creepy. And like even if there's a moth in my room, I can't sleep at night until it's gone. Like
I
like
mean,
it just
Amadi,
bothers me, you
Amadi is
know?
the same way. Amadi has a phobia of anything that flies.
Okay, but
Yeah.
like, recently, this is crazy, and I guess I'm glad that I can put a little bit of like godly input. um so yeah, I used to be like very, very afraid of anything that flew, specifically birds. But like then I prayed about it and I was like, why am I afraid of something that, that you created, God? And um just even having that question, then that my perspective started to change and I really started to see them as God's creation. And I think that kind of took my fear away. And also,
Unless they were created by the FBI.
okay,
They're robots,
um,
robotic birds
well, I don't
created
think,
to
but
spy on us.
I don't know, but I have a lot of sympathy for them now. Um, Especially like if I see a little kid trying to torture a bird, I'm like, hey, that's God's creation. Like, why are you throwing the rocks at it? Or
Whereas before you would cheer.
Well, I'm sending you guys a parrot for Christmas. So
oh
there you
no.
go.
Okay.
You don't want a parrot?
The front neighbor has like a six foot bear. It's a huge bird.
That thing is beautiful.
Oh, your neighbor's across the street, right?
Yeah,
With that bird.
that thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it says hi, it
Beautiful.
dances, it goes like this. And so, yeah, like, how could I not love that?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
But I want to own that.
I used to want a parrot when I was a kid.
It's just,
They talk, they dance, they live a long time. They're not like dogs who die on you quickly,
it's
break
just
your heart
a lot of
faster.
convenience.
A lot of inconvenience. Yeah, it's basically like
Yeah.
having a little child, I guess, that never grows up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I should take some of your thoughts about about the birds and apply that to moths.
Yeah.
Because I really don't.
Check it out, check to see if it works. I think
Yeah.
it works for me. And I didn't notice it until I think last Sunday. We were outside of the church, and I think it was Angelina or somebody that was, trying to kick a bird, and my dad was like, oh, he was like poking fun at Angelina doing that or whatever. She was saying that, that she was like me and didn't like the birds. And then I was like, no, but leave the bird alone. And then that's when the first time I caught myself saying it, that's God's creation. And, and then I was like, oh, I don't think I'm scared of it anymore.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to imagine like fleas and mosquitoes and snakes and like
Yeah.
all these are God's creation.
But they all have their
They're
purpose.
all God's creation. And sometimes when I'm getting bit, like guys, I have mosquito bites all over my arms right now.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and I'm like, man, sometimes I'm like, why do these things have to exist? And I'm like,
There's some people that say, why didn't they die in the flood? I'm like, are you kidding me? The flood made them like gather even more.
they actually increased their numbers during the flood.
Leaves all the animals multiplying.
All the animals, yes. The cockroaches too. But
All the butterflies and fleas and flies that came into the ark were a whole different generation that came out by the time the ark was done.
oh yeah.
Okay, so you got another article, right?
Yeah, so the kind of like thanks, that was a good transition into the well, not really, but a very abrupt transition is what we do on this podcast. We don't do smooth transitions. So
We
just letting
don't.
you guys know.
We're
You
on
don't know if you
filter.
don't do.
So maybe one day we will, but
One day we will have smooth transitions. So stick around for the
You
smooth
sponsor us,
transitions.
and we will be smoother.
Yes. So the next article I looked up this week when I was just browsing the internet, I came across AI Jesus. And this is actually a topic and a concept I hadn't quite fully thought of before because I've been very, well, not very, I've somewhat paid attention to the advancement of AI in recent times, but I never really thought of it in terms of spirituality and Jesus. So this article kind of highlighted that. So St. Peter's Church in Lucerne, Switzerland, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They recently unveiled an experimental AI-powered confessional called Deus in Machina, I believe. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correct.
It's a
Feature
Deus Machina. Oh, it's
Deus in Machina. Okay. Uh,
Machina.
okay. Yeah. Well, I'll let you pronounce that part.
yeah.
Uh, featuring a holographic depiction of Jesus to interact with worshipers. It was created by theologians and computer scientists from Lucerne University of Applied Science and Arts. The AI Jesus offers responses based on New Testament teachings and other theological sources, speaking fluently in 100 languages. The initiative aims to explore the role of AI in religion. Some reactions have been mixed to this. Supporters find solace and advice provided by the digital figure, appreciating its accessibility and theological insights. However, some critics have questioned its depth, calling responses generic and expressing concerns that the machine lacks a moral compass, obviously being AI. The project has been operational between August 23rd and October 20th, with some, events, extending through, I guess, this November. Its purpose was not to replace the clergy, but to spark conversation about AI's potential in providing spiritual support. So this does raise a lot of questions that people will be, coming to this AI Jesus for, solace, for support, for advice, for prayer. And it does, raise a lot of questions about what is AI's role in spirituality as we move forward in time. And as AI continues to advance, what are we going to see with more of the merging of spirituality and technology? We're going to run across, some of these types of questions. So one of the questions that I have from this, and then we can, let both of you guys answer, would you personally recommend an AI, driven spiritual guide to someone seeking faith-based support? And if so, would you recommend this under any circumstances, in your opinion? If you don't have an answer, that's okay, but what are your thoughts on that?
I'll let you answer first.
Okay. Um. So I don't know if I would recommend it for somebody using it as like something physical to go to and ask questions and stuff like that. I don't know, something about that just kind of rubs me the wrong way and makes me think that they can get to the point where they worship the AI versus worshiping Jesus himself. Um, but in general, AI isn't bad, especially if you try to use it in a way where it helps you in your biblical study. Like I know I've had some friends that have gone to chat GBT or whatever it's called, and they type in make a Bible study for me. So then it'll give them, a plan on like how much they have to read per day and what they have to read per day and stuff like that. So in that sense, I think that's kind of smart, especially for the church going forward, where ministers or people that are teaching can kind of use that as guides, not necessarily take everything word for word, but use it as a guide, and as a tool to help the church spiritually, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think I'm in the same mindset. I'm going to explain a little bit better with the sense of, first of all, AI. AI is not because I think, we're using AI as a term now more and more these past few years. And I think there is a generation or there's a group of people that imagine AI as a robotic thing or being that controls.
iRobot, Terminator, that sort of thing.
Yeah, they kind of have that mindset, but AI, in a sense, has been around for a while. Um,
Yes,
you
you're
have to
right.
consider that, when you go to Google and say, I need some scripture about, Thanksgiving. I don't know. You're talking about wherever you want. People do this all the time. Google uses AI to find you the stuff that you need. It uses AI to find you the best scripture, but also it goes through your phone, through your computer, and it analyzes who you are as a person, and sometimes even shows you websites that are more suitable to you as a person. So if you look up, scriptures for Christmas in your computer, and I do in my computer, our research or our search pages will be slightly different because of the history of our computers and what we've been searching and all that. So AI has been used before. Should it be used in the church? I say absolutely yes, but there should be a line drawn. And I think they do hit it pretty hard. Is that there is no morality behind it. There's no moral compass behind it. Should AI be used for other things? Yeah. I mean, we ourselves are using AI to make videos and stuff like that. Suggestions for titles, suggestions for uh,
Yeah,
different things and if
yeah.
you're not using AI, then you're hurting yourself, to be honest. And a
Get
lot
things
of
much done
churches,
faster, more efficiently.
yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of churches
absolutely.
nowadays have embraced AI, but you have to embrace it for certain things in the church. Social media, sure. Promoting stuff, sure. Even the worship, if you want to have backgrounds or you want ideas of backgrounds, or if you want to create maybe Bible studies, and you want to have a guide behind it, you can even do what she said, go to ChatGPT, but at the very end of the day, you have to go in and edit it. You have to go in and fix it because the computer is not going to understand everything you want. And I think when it comes to like answering questions, I think it can even work for the good to a certain extent because again, it's essentially a glorified Google, right?
Mhm.
Um, if you're wondering, is it good to lie? Something simple, right? You can look it up on Google. Is it good to lie? And you're gonna get the atheist mindset, the Christian mindset, the Buddhist mindset,
Yeah,
the all these different religions, right?
you're right. You can ask any question about your life on Google. You're right.
Yeah. Whereas if you ask a Jesus AI, as long as you're understanding that that's not Jesus, but maybe an AI computer created behind the Bible or whatever it is, at the very least, you know that ethically it's following what's written in the Word, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so I think even to that extent, I would say, yeah, why not use it for simple questions like that? Um, but if I have a couple come to my church, again, I used to work in a church in Oklahoma, one of the best jobs that I had in my life. And in this job, I would talk to people all the time. Every week, I would meet with people either in my office, in a classroom, in a school, somewhere. So if a couple would come to me and say, "Hey, we need marriage advice," and I'd say, "Oh, I have this AI machine that can help you," right? I don't think
Okay.
that's where you draw the line, right? That's where you say, "Well, the machine is going to give you generic answers," right? And I think every marriage is different. If a person comes with suicidal thoughts, every person is different, right? So
Yeah.
you have to draw the line at some point. So I do
Hmm.
agree with her. There is
Yeah, there
a
has to be a
line.
line.
Yeah,
And that brings up, good questions about where exactly should that line be with particularly AI. And you're right about AI has been around a lot longer than people realize. And obviously it's advanced over time and the uses have increased. Like we were talking about, everyone uses Chat GPT now because sometimes like I take notes for things, but I don't want to organize them. I just have
yeah,
Chat GPT do that. I want to generate, ideas. I have Chat GPT help with that,
yeah.
like
It's crazy
it's
because
quite
like
normal, huh?
you see videos of people like they put create me a song, a country song about ketchup. AI can
Hmm.
create you a country song about ketchup. So
Yeah,
what's stopping, Christian artists to say, create me a song about Ephesians 2:8 or,
you can.
whatever it is. So should it be used? I don't know.
Yeah, or it can be
That's
like
the
create a prayer for me. Create a prayer for me,
yeah.
based off of this prayer in the Bible. Create a personal prayer for
Yeah.
me. You could
That's
have
a
a Chat
question.
GPT do that.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the idea of like, should AI be allowed to like depict a holographic image of Jesus because we don't really know what Jesus looked like. Should
Right,
AI
right.
take on the image of Jesus? What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that's where the line is drawn, like a holographic image of Jesus? Or who knows, one day we talked about it's not really robotic now, but what if one day we wanted to make a robotic Jesus
Yeah.
that has
There,
AI
there,
in it?
there is a denomination, I don't know the denomination off the top of my head, but there is a denomination that I believe we studied that uh, wholly believes that we should have no pictures whatsoever of Jesus
Mm,
Christ or anyone in the Bible because of Jewish beliefs
yeah.
beforehand. So um, I think the question goes beyond just AI. Like, should we have depictions of Jesus? Again, it all depends to like the usage. Like if I'm creating a children's ministry event or something and I want AI to help me with animations and Jesus is part of the animations, is that wrong? I would say no.
Yeah.
Right, no.
No.
But if I want a physical Jesus that is 3D speaking to me, I think that would be a little bit in the iffy side, more to what
Mm.
Amari said. It could become something where I start
I want to
worshiping
worshiping it.
The
AI.
AI, yes.
Because it's so similar to your maybe our concept or idea of
Art,
Jesus.
right.
You can almost build a relationship with an AI Jesus or a
Yes.
depiction of Jesus that's not real, like you're saying, where you want to pray to it, you want to worship it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
it's so similar to what you'd imagine Jesus would be.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
let's say, I mean, because technology fails. So let's say that one does build a relationship with the AI, you know, I wanted to call it a statue, but no, just the holographic
Holographic
like,
image of
person.
Jesus. Yeah.
Um, and then it malfunctions or because you said it doesn't have a moral compass, it just starts saying,
Hmm.
negative things, then that can deter people from their faith, from their relationship with Christ. And I mean, that's something that, anybody in the church should be opposed to.
Yeah.
That's not what we want to happen. We want people to draw closer to Jesus, not to,
Yeah.
draw themselves away from him.
And also, like, AI at the end of the day is kind of like a puppet. Um, it it's being controlled by someone else, right? Someone is feeding it the information that the AI should think from. So I think in this article you said they were Catholic, right? Uh,
Um, yeah, I
yeah, St.
believe.
Peter's Chapel, theologians, and I believe
Yeah, I
it,
believe so.
I believe they're Catholic. So, and again, I got nothing against Catholics. I believe Catholics, a lot of them, are worshiping God in their own way. But um, talking about just the denominations and the differences between them, you know, someone's feeding it the information, and they might not be just choosing the Bible. They might be choosing theologians that are just Catholic themselves. And if someone like us who are not practicing Catholics, we're Christians but not Catholics. If we ask, it might not give the perspective of what our belief systems are. Mm-hmm. So then, could that create doubts? Could that create confusion? Yes. But then you say, well, then create a Protestant one. Well, there's thousands of Protestants divided amongst just the Protestants themselves,
I
right?
see.
And even
You can create
Catholics.
a
I've gone to several Catholic churches where some are very much legalistic and some are not. Some are very more liberal thinking, even. So, who's feeding it the information also matters, because at the end of the day, the AI is just spitting out the information someone gave it.
Mhm.
exactly. Exactly. Obviously it will build and learn over time, but yeah, it needs the information to be inputted, and it can grow and learn, but yeah, you're 100% right about that. That is an interesting thought. You could create several different types of AI Jesus depending on the denomination, and depending on what the exact belief structure is, because obviously, as we know, with Christianity, there's so many different, ways of thinking and belief systems, in Christianity. But I thought about this. I agree with you guys. I think there probably is a line definitely with this, as far as where to, okay, maybe we're taking it a little too far here. I'm definitely very pro AI. I'm pro technology. You guys know, like I'm even pro the robots. I knew I was gonna try to work that in here somewhere. I wanted, like, I would get a Tesla bot. I 100% would, because I don't like doing, mundane things around the house. Like, I wanted to do my dishes and clean and, change my oil. I can do all that stuff. But back to but back to the no, I was just putting out there so everyone knows, like, I'm very pro, AI or robots
If you're
or
listening,
the advancement of
we're
technology.
pro you.
Yeah, so I'm just doing that. So when they take over the world, they won't come for me first. So
Right.
that's why I'm saying
Oh,
this.
yes.
We'll end up being their pets.
But
These humans are domesticated. I'm sorry, go.
yeah, but it certainly raises, some questions about, because you really can build relationships with AI. People, instead of having a real, like, if they don't have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend and they're wanting a relationship, some of them will seek out to an AI girlfriend, an AI boyfriend, and they're
Yeah.
building deep connections and relationships with AI. And I imagine this will continue to grow in the future, building these deeper relationships. Yeah, I can imagine that from like someone who wants a spiritual connection, like they need a spiritual mentor. They
Right.
want, that person in their life, and they're feeling like the human versions of it are failing. They could look to something like this, an AI Jesus, or they want an AI pastor or an AI spiritual leader to kind of replace, what they felt like might not be there for them as far as, actual humans are concerned.
But I think it
So,
also
that
falls to I think, and this is a poisonous belief system that it's a very American. Um, we want to be fed what we want to hear, right?
Mhm.
mm,
So, and I think that's where the AI would fall into is they're just going to tell us what we want to hear. We want it's not going to be compassionate in the sense of it wanting us to grow in our spiritual health. It's gonna just start learning what we want to hear or want to listen to, and it's gonna be like any other pastor who's doing it for the money,
So it's
right?
gonna become a false prophet.
well,
Yeah.
because obviously AI doesn't have a soul. It
No.
doesn't have a soul, so it's not going to
Right.
have the human characteristics that we share. It can have something that looks similar to it, but it won't be the same.
Yeah.
It won't share our humanity.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for it to show true empathy. It really will be hard.
Yeah, you did
Mhm.
mention one thing, and I want to hit it just really fast, where he said that we use it for other things, and it reminded me we watched the show together. I'm not going to mention the show just for copyright purposes, but you guys can ask us somewhere else, and we might share the show. But we saw a show where they were investigating an AI that was essentially recreating the voice of a loved one who passed away, right?
Oh,
This is actually a true thing. You can actually do that. There's an AI for it, which is where the episode was inspired from. And I did read an article afterwards. It's like AI was listening to what we were watching, but on should we do that or not? And then it also tagged it to another AI that people will share like pictures of their loved ones that passed away, and it'll recreate a small 5-7 second video of them moving around, smiling, waving.
Yeah.
You know, is that taking it too far, or does that help people
help.
mourn?
I know.
Um,
That's the question. Is it taking it too far or is it helping more? That's like really what I think in these types of scenarios. For me, I don't think I would want that. Like for people I love who passed away, I don't think I'd want to hear their voice or have videos of them made, but maybe for some people that's what they need. I don't know. I don't know.
and I'll be blunt. I mean, when my dad passed away, I remember going through all my voicemails and trying to find one of him so I can hear his
Mm,
voice, so I can hear
yeah.
something, and I couldn't find one. And that was a moment that I was kind of a little bit brokenhearted for a second.
Oh,
Um, because at the time, this was like probably a week after he had passed away. I really wanted to hear his voice again. Now, would I want to hear his voice? Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like if I knew that it was AI generated, I would almost feel like it's an insult to his memory. Um,
yeah.
I would even say that's not fully him. Yeah, doesn't sound
Yeah.
like him.
Maybe
Um,
if it was something like, you know, would it be different if it was like a letter or something he wrote down and AI was just reading it for you? Would that be different, or would you still feel like I just want to give it justice?
I don't think it would give it justice, but then
Yeah.
you think about like memoirs of people that recreate the lives of people through movies or other stuff. Is that insulting their memories? A lot of people would say no. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they obviously won't be able to recreate the person who passed away ever, but it does help them mourn. I know I read an article, and this is very niche to Hispanics, but when Selena died, Quintanilla, yeah, her parents funded, and they were all about making a movie about her. And one of the articles say that it was because And I don't know if I read it or maybe I imagined it, but I feel like I read it somewhere that they were saying that it helped them mourn with it. Like
Hmm.
it fueling the memory of their daughter that had passed away. Um, so
I think for them, they really wanted to get her story out there.
yeah,
They felt like
Yeah.
she deserved it, and I mean that may be the case with other people that not indulge, but that look into AI with their own loved ones. They want to share the story of that person, maybe to like a grandkid or I don't know, a niece or a nephew that never really got to see that person. Maybe they just want them to see what the person was like. And it's like
Yeah.
Urban said, it might not be accurate or you may think like, oh, that doesn't sound like them. But at least that kid or that future loved one has an idea of what they were like.
Yeah. Yeah, so far I'm like, I don't know if I would want that, but I don't think there's anything like wrong with it.
yeah.
Like as far as, recreating a lost loved one's, voice or image,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
I
anything
just think
wrong
it
with
could be
it. I just
dangerous.
don't know if I don't think it would help me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I do think, I mean, I think there is danger behind it. Um, I think it can slow down mourning more than anything. I feel like,
it may mess up the grieving process that
Right.
people
yeah,
go
Yeah.
through,
So
perhaps.
in the instance where I was talking about, like, that would definitely be like when you're
past the grieving. Yeah,
past the grieving stage. It would
yeah,
be more for like
Memory.
if a kid said, "Hey, what was Grandpa like?" And if you, for whatever reason, don't have any videos of Grandpa, then you could be like, "Well, let me see if I can work some magic with the AI." Um,
yeah.
Yeah. You
but
could just take pictures and create an AI video.
mhm.
Yeah, you could.
But thankfully, we have videos of Grandpa, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a lot, but we do have videos.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I took us on a tangent there.
Mhm.
No, no, it's all right. We're probably coming up close to time anyway. So we probably go through our kind of final thoughts about this AI subject and spirituality.
So I was reading a little bit of the confessions, or not confessions, but the people that were interviewed for the article, and a lot of them is just it's flip and flop. I mean, and it's kind of what we were saying. Like a lot of them were saying, you know, how can you fix the violence in this world or whatever? And the answer was very much like bland through prayer and
Hmm.
not seeking retribution.
Not
Whereas
so not being very practical about it.
not being
Very
very practical,
specific.
really.
Hmm.
Not very. It's very broad, not very specific. I think that when the instance that it was specific, it was more where like you're asking like biblical questions or stuff like that. And I
Mm.
think again, at least my conclusion, and I'll let you guys have your own conclusion. This AI would work if it's a informational source and not your main source for anything. Like I wouldn't want to go
Yeah.
to a church if I knew the pastor was getting all his sermons through AI.
All his sermons are written by AI.
Yeah, I no. Hey, get yourself an outline maybe through AI.
I mean, what I
Every
do is
software.
you write down your thoughts and have AI organize them for you.
Yeah,
That's
So there you
different than
go.
like
That's
AI creating everything.
yeah, yeah. You have something of you in it, right? But if I find out that a pastor is just using AI for all their sermons, that would be a huge red flag. No, I'm not going to that church. And luckily, all the churches or the recent churches I've gone to, my father-in-law, I know that he writes his sermons because I see him write his sermons. And the one in Brigham Christian Church back in Oklahoma, Pastor Mike would take a whole day. I would see him as well, and he would even discuss with us on other days ideas from his sermon before he even preached it. So I knew it came from him. Um, Plus, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't know how to use AI back then. I don't know about now. Maybe he knows how to use it now, but
He's very
I hope he does.
savvy for someone of that generation.
I don't know what generation he's from, to be honest.
An older,
Older Gen
boomer.
Gen X or
I
is he
don't
a boomer? Boomer? Is he a
Boomer,
boomer? Gen
he's
X?
maybe late Gen X or
Yeah,
mid Gen X.
he's not a boomer.
I think it's just how, because you know how like young kids will see older people and they'll just automatically call them a boomer. I think that's
Yeah, I
just
know.
Yeah.
Have you guys been
So
called
like, if
boomers
you're
yet? No, I'm just
listening,
kidding.
we do apologize. We don't think you're a boomer
He called you a
in a
boomer?
negative way.
no. I was trying to be nice and say he knows how to use technology.
If she was trying to give him a compliment, she was trying.
It's not good at those.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the kind of compliments that when you're like, oh, I don't know if it's an insult or a compliment, but I'll just take it as a compliment. That's typically.
No, it was trying to be a compliment. I wish that I had some AI so that I can look up because from that conversation that we had, I had a thought in my mind about the whole holographic Jesus thing.
Yes.
Because isn't there a scripture that says that we're not supposed to have images of heavenly things? The urban is about
No, like
to.
of heavenly things?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when I've always heard that, and that's kind of why a lot of like Protestant churches don't like Catholic churches because they have a lot of images in their church.
Yeah, and again, I did mention it. I didn't have the exact quotation, but
I didn't hear
it is from Exodus. It says you should not make yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is of heaven above, or that is earth, that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
So no angels, no
So
demons,
so
no
basically it's talking about spiritual things. No
spiritual things.
angels,
yeah, so it's
demons,
mentioned in
Jesus.
Exodus 20 and then repeated in Deuteronomy 5.
Yes.
And again, this is the Jewish belief. Most Christians believe that
Okay, I remember you
was
said that.
yeah, that's specifically in other things, but yes, go on.
Well, going based off of that, I mean, Jesus is definitely, something spiritual. He's a heavenly thing. So based off of that, then I'd be against it because it's kind of like you guys said, we just don't even know what Jesus looked like. But AI in general for the church, I I think I'm all for it, especially if it's going to help structure the church, or be a guide for like how Irvin said to get like an outline or how you said just to organize some thoughts and stuff like that. I think I'm for that. I think I'm also for how I mentioned earlier that I actually do have friends that they go on there on Chat GPT and they're like, hey, I need a devotional plan, and it'll tell them what scriptures to read on what days and stuff like that. I think that's good. And I think that helps people grow spiritually. And that's the ultimate goal as Christians is for us to grow closer to Christ, to be more like Christ. And if it's going to help us get there, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I'm definitely more pro AI, particularly in the help and advancement, of humans. I think that it can be very helpful in many areas. I think with the advent of advanced AI, we're seeing, more of the merging, like I mentioned earlier, of technology and spirituality. Obviously, particularly with, these types of scenarios with like an AI Jesus, AI creating lost loved ones. We're running into these types of scenarios, and we'll probably continue these types of scenarios, and as time progresses and we move further along, I think it can bring a lot of benefit to people, especially from a learning standpoint. I think AI is going to be very beneficial to people, as far as increasing efficiency. I think it's going to be very good. And then I think getting deeper into more of the psychological aspects of it, and the spiritual aspects of it. These are questions I'm still, running and thinking about. I'm still formulating my thoughts about it all, but I'm definitely more on the side of it's going to be a good thing for people. So I'm more on the positive side of it. Although I remain cautious about there can be some negative aspects that we did discuss throughout the podcast. There can be some cons, but I think there's more pros to the advancement of with AI and spirituality and humans in general. So we'll see as the time moves forward, and yeah. But I think I'm very pro AI, but we'll see. It's kind of how, but I remain cautious. I remain cautious, but
Yeah.
I'm on board with it.
Just
So
to add,
we'll see. I think it's going to do a lot of great good for humanity, and there's so many different things that we haven't even got into the all the other aspects that AI can help us with.
Yeah.
Even medically. All sorts of things. So, but
yeah.
yeah.
I was about to add something else, like really quickly. Just like looking at church history in general, anytime something new was added, like whenever churches started to introduce instruments, like that was a big, like, whoa, people
Yeah.
were like, I guess, afraid of it, they were against it, and so
Mm.
anytime something new is introduced to a church,
It's
then you're going
mm,
to have polar opinions. You're going to
Yeah.
have um
it's often met with resistance. Yeah.
right, you're going to have a lot of people that are, pro AI, a lot of people that are not against AI, is I'll use that word.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have those people that just kind of grow with it, that you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that they'll see it as another instrument, like how I
Yeah.
see. They'll
Just
see that okay, I don't really understand it right now, but later on they're gonna become
be useful.
familiarized with it, and then they're gonna be okay with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like we use TV was new at one point. Now people watch Bible stories and movies on TV. Smartphones were a thing. Now they have Bible apps reading their Bible audio. As things advance, they're using the new technology for
Yeah.
spiritual purposes,
Mhm.
and I think that will
Yeah.
continue. So yeah, I think that's all the thoughts I have on it. I guess I know we're getting
Yeah.
close to
We
time.
are coming to the end point of this podcast. I did notice one thing, and I'm going to throw it at this time, is our conclusion was a little bit too long last time, so let's make it shorter this time. I think we've all given our thoughts already, so if you guys have more ideas for us to discuss, either articles or just topics you guys want us to discuss here in the podcast, please let us know on our social medias. As of right now, we do have a Facebook. We are working on an Instagram, and we do have a TikTok as well. So wherever you're watching us, please let us know any ideas of podcasts you want to hear. Just three best friends talk about Christian topics. So let us know. Make sure you also like our posts, our videos, our podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching us, and make sure you also subscribe so you don't miss any other podcasts. Any other comments, guys?
Uh,
So if you have any ideas, even based off of this podcast itself, or if you have something that maybe not triggered you, but maybe you say, oh yeah, I agree with that, or I disagree with that, we'd love to hear from you too. And then we could also discuss it in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have any personal life scenarios that relate to any topics or subjects, yeah, feel free to let us know. And if there's anything that you want us to discuss or any questions that you have, and you want to hear what our thoughts would be on the subject, feel free to share with us. We'll be happy to look into it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that was all, and I hope to see you guys next time. Have a
Yeah.
good day. Bye.
Thank you, guys.